Whew! I really don't know where to begin because, spoiler alert, I really enjoyed Weapons, and you should probably go see it in a theater, not necessarily on the biggest screen possible like an IMAX or... What in the fucking Christopher Nolan was that? But hopefully you see Weapons in a packed theater, maybe one of the smaller ones, where you really get to hear the visceral gasping and the uncomfortable shifting in the seats of your fellow man or woman. Munchy wunchin' lumpticks of toast.
Munchy wunchy lumpticks of toast.
Chomping on popcorn.
Uh-huh.
So run, don't walk, to see Weapons. No, wait. You should definitely stick around for this short review because I'll tell you why it's one of the best of the summer movie season and one of the best horror films of the year. Second to Sinners. Yeah, I said that. Weapons is the newest film from Zach Cregler, who also directed the still not on physical media yet horror film from 2022, Barbarian. We start out with a voiceover prologue explaining how at 2:17 a.m., 17 of the kids in the town simultaneously ran out of their houses, Naruto style, into the woods, only to disappear. Yeah, I disappeared too at 2:17 a.m. It's called blacking out. The rest of the runtime, a brisk 2 hours, is all about what happens a couple months after the kids all went missing. It's difficult to continue talking about Weapons without spoiling it, so don't fret, my pet. I'll tread lightly here. You know, after that prologue, the film felt like it kind of stumbled out the gate a little bit, but I think it's just natural to have to settle into your characters. Your mileage may vary, but I was really impressed with the pacing of Weapons after that initial settling in period. And on that note, the entire cast is great here, from the supporting roles up to Josh Brolin, who plays Archer, and Julia Garner as Justine, who were undoubtedly the film's two leads. However, you don't spend the entire time with them unraveling the mystery like you would in most modern films. But more on that in a second. Garner plays the teacher, who the town feels had a role in the kids' disappearance. Kids' disappearances? Brolin plays one of the fathers of one of the missing kids in a haunting performance that almost went to somebody else. Can you guess who it is? You guessed it, Pedro fucking Pascal.
Bitch, are you for real?
This would have been old Pedro's fourth leading role this year, but thankfully the universe gave us Josh Brolin instead. The universe is healing. Thank you, Thanos. Weapons takes a Rashomon, Pulp Fiction sort of approach to following our characters, both major and minor.
Minor? I hardly know her.
By showing us events from their point of view and then showing us some of the same events from another point of view. We follow Justine first, as the town, including Archer, tries to vilify her for the the disappearance of all the kids. While the rest of the cast is great and effective and essential to the plot, after a tense scene involving the supporting characters, I did find myself elated when we returned back to Brolin and Garner. The two of them have some great chemistry and their own personal arcs are very satisfying to see play out. When you get to the meat and potatoes of Weapons, it's really not a revolutionary new plot, but it is insanely intriguing in its execution because it may take you a while to figure out what's exactly going on, but there's still a lot of unsettling images, a couple of cheap but effective jump scares, but more importantly, some really great camera work which provides the right mood, whether frantic or calm, for the given scene. Let's not forget that even if you do figure some things out early, it still has some very satisfying plot elements, character arcs, cinematic and thrilling elements that you could chew on. There were a few things that were a little predictable, but some of it seems very intentional because you would see something like a piece of food or a t-shirt or something that would tip you off that the crazy shit you saw earlier in someone else's story is about to kick off soon. Some things were blatantly visible, while other things you had to kind of have a keen eye to spot. I love it when a film doesn't treat me like I'm a moron and still has something up its sleeve, like attention to detail, while keeping good acting, impressive cinematography, etc., etc.
I'm not a moron, you know.
Weapons also felt very similar to one of last year's sleeper horror hits, and that is Longlegs. In that it was very stylish and polished in its filmmaking, but dank and disgusting in its subject matter, with an overwhelming sense of dread throughout and a freaky looking antagonist. Like Together, review on this channel. Weapons didn't hold my hand, and it let me draw my own conclusions and build my own tension. Basically, letting me freak my own self out. Even though most of my conclusions were right on the money, it didn't feel as predictable as Together, but some things still reminded me of other films. But that's gonna happen. I still didn't know exactly how it would play out, and it was satisfying not to know that part. I purposely didn't pay any attention to any promotion for Weapons other than the first trailer that came out, and I know scenes have been released online leading up to the release, but I've stayed away from those just to have a pure cinematic experience, and I think it paid off. It pays to not read spoilers, folks. Would I have loved to have been 100% surprised at every plot turn and twist in Weapons? Of course. But that's impossible when you're old and you've seen a film or two.
I know everything about film. I've seen over 240 of them.
It can be really easy to connect the dots and just be jaded because you might have an idea of where everything is going, but Weapons lets you connect those dots on your own, and then you really get to enjoy the wow, bang, surprise moments that you didn't see coming.
You know, wow, bang, surprise.
Weapons has definitely stayed with me long after I've left the theater, and that's a sign of a good movie in my opinion. Hell, I just saw that Jurassic Afterbirth movie, and I couldn't even tell you what happened in that one. I only question Weapons' replay value, since once you know its secrets, it may lose a bit of its intensity. However, you could always go back and see all the ways that all the character stories are interconnected, and maybe some of those details you might have missed on first viewing. Kind of like the second time you watched Fight Club. That might open you up to finding more plot holes. I was very forgiving in that respect, despite one sort of big discrepancy that still didn't feel completely explained away. Hopefully good word of mouth gets around and gets people running to the theaters to see a mostly original, yet solid and hopefully sleeper horror hit of the summer. Say that 5 times fast.
No!
Because let's face it, we're already in August. The summer movie season's basically over. And since Superman and Fantastic Four belly flop financially and with audiences more or less, Weapons, while obviously a different kind of summer movie fare, has been the most satisfying summer movie so far. Highly recommended. Go see it. Now, what did you think of Weapons? Don't forget to let me know in the comments below. Did you notice Shanice from Uncle Buck in there? Yeah, that was her. As always, don't forget to like this video, share and subscribe to the channel, and keep those eyes red, baby. See ya.
Bitch, are you for real?
Unacceptable!
Fuck.